The first thing to do is to act on the agenda.
I move that we accept the agenda as written.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now we need to act on the minutes of May 27th meeting.
I move we accept them as offered.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public comment? Highway and garage, here you go.
Highway and garage. Nothing wild and crazy. Hauled winter sand, I think we're up to 1,400 yards through the time I was gone, including today. I think we're probably gonna haul like 25 total, so we still got a bit to do. Nothing new other than I wanted to throw at you guys rental of an excavator, which we've done since 2019, I think, for the grants and aid work. But I'd like to rent one for 2 months instead of one. The first month would be covered by the grant, which would be, do you know, Jeanette, 14,400 I think is this year's grant amount, and the excavator rental's 42 for the month. The second month would be on us, which would be ditching, and we have 5 culverts that we'd like to do with it.
And do we have, what do we have in that budget?
Well, it would be after July 1st.
Oh, so it'll be a new budget.
I would have liked to have it rented already, but with me being gone and everything else we've been doing and then all the rain, it didn't work out that way. So I wanted to be here prior to Palmer starting because there's one on the Oxbow that I wanted to try to do about the same time that he was starting, maybe a little bit before, but looks like we'll probably do it after now.
And what did you say the price was for?
It's $3,800 for the excavator and like $400 for the wrist bucket. So 42. It's $250 delivery, $250 for them to pick up. So at the end of that 2 months, there's $500 that would be on top of that. So what is it, 8,900?
Who do you rent it from?
Milton Rents.
I've never heard of them.
Same monthly fee as the last couple of years, same delivery fee
Same
as the
delivery,
last
same
couple of years. He didn't change the price at all.
And you'll be getting it anyways for the culverts, am I correct?
Well, we
portion
do
of
it
it
for
we
the
pay
grants and aid typically. And then I've always written the whole month off, even though we don't use it for the whole month, and they've always reimbursed us for 100% of it, which has worked out well, so it doesn't really cost the town anything. And then we have done additional things with it in that time frame that we've had it. But this year we have a lot to do. The 3-foot culverts that came in late that like alarmed you and I think alarmed Jeanette when they came in because of the cost. One by Ray Wilcox on Middletown Road, we continually been getting a hole in the road. That culvert needs to be changed. Then Steinley Road is the other 3-foot culvert that we ordered that has got to be changed. And it's a lot for the backhoe to do those 2 big culverts.
Does anybody have discussion about it?
We would have paid the front and back end delivery and pickup fee anyway, right?
We do anyways, except for if you do it for a month, it's 500. If you do it for 2 months, it's 500.
Right.
So
Okay.
we tried it 1 or 2 years. We tried. I think it was a little more than that. I think you might have been like 400 each way. We returned it, I think, 1 year, or we picked it up 1 year, and Josh is like, I don't think we're really saving much by the time you pay me and fuel, and
Right.
we've had to get a trailer from Palmer to do it, and so now they're down to $250. I think it's just as easy to have them drop it off and then pick it up.
Will this come potentially from the highway bridge fund?
It could, however, it has been done under the outside contracting, and that's why you'll see the $20,000 budgeted there.
Yeah.
Up to this time of year, we don't do a ton with outside contracting unless we have some kind of an emergency, but that's where, when we start doing this ditching in the spring, that's where we code all of that too, because we're,
Okay.
or actually that would be rental equipment, I'm sorry.
Wouldn't it be rental?
Palmer's work is outside contracting.
Okay.
It would fall under rental.
So that's,
So we're thinking half of it would be paid for by the
Yeah,
Since 2019, they've covered 100% of the rental, so I'm assuming they'll do it again.
For month one.
Yes, for the first month. The second $4,200 or thereabouts would be on us.
And we have currently, we budgeted for 6,000. But year to date, we've done 6,800, a little over.
but this bill won't show up until July, and next year we went back up to 12,000
I
for
was gonna
rental
say, I think it
equipment.
went up for the next fiscal year.
Right, because last year we spent over 10,000 because we needed it when you had other culverts that had to get done.
There's no other options really, right?
We can
Other than,
try to do them with the backhoe. We've, in the past, haven't had a great bit of success doing the bigger culverts with the backhoe.
3 foot, too
And
much.
you constantly have to like strategically place it so you can dig and load. You gotta be on an angle. It's just a royal pain, to be honest with you. With the X-ray, you can spin all the way around, so it just makes things a lot easier, a lot quicker,
Maybe safer as
and
well.
well, always safer. Yeah.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Can I make a motion that we approve the intended extra month rental of an excavator for installing large culverts?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else in our
I don't think so.
road stuff?
Meeting coming up Wednesday
There's a meeting on
at the
Wednesday.
garage. I didn't get a chance. I got that email from Cindy this morning, 62 pages. She wanted me to skim through, but I haven't had zero time to even look at it.
Do you, are you gonna be there?
Yeah,
Good,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, but I
Think
think she wanted us to bring up any sort of questions prior, because if there's any changes, the way that her email sounded, if we were to change anything at this point, it would be okay, but if we were to wait and change, there may be an additional cost associated with any sort of changes, so that's the way I read the email. I may have a little bit of time tonight, but I
See, I was told all along through Martha and the rest of the group with the MERP that we can make changes throughout it, to the work we want done,
up to,
right?
I'll pull it up real quick just to see.
That would be unusual though. I mean, any kind of construction job is a change order when you start making changes when you've got somebody who's developed a scope of work.
Right.
I mean, as far as what we, not adding things, obviously, but. And so,
I was gonna come, like you said you're gonna be here at 10. I can't promise to read 62 pages, but should I try to at least look at it? Or is it not really something I have to worry about?
so my personal feeling is that I really would like to hear, when it comes to the garage, I'd really like to see
Yeah,
what
okay.
Charlie's thinking
Yeah.
about. But I think that we should all have an opinion as well. But I am curious to what your opinion is on the heating system of the garage. And
Yeah,
what you think about that.
we've discussed that a little bit, you and I.
Yeah, and I've discussed it with other people outside of our group here that are taxpayers in town, and they've given me their opinions. So, I mean, it's one of those, I would like to hear what you think about it and
Yeah.
what portions of the garage you think are the most pertinent to start on
Right.
and to work with, and how you feel about the heating systems. But I also think we all should have a say in what we think and what we.
She did say in her email that I guess they're gonna be here the majority of the day. Yes, it starts at 10, but if somebody's schedule doesn't allow them to be here when they arrive,
Right.
they're just swinging it at any point
Any
during the
point,
day.
right.
If you have time, would be okay. It's the way that it was written.
And that's how I feel too. I just want to keep everyone on the board in the loop of it, because it is, in my opinion, our responsibility to facilitate what gets done first and how it gets done and what is most important. And so I would like to hear everybody's opinions on that.
Yeah, because it sounds like there is gonna be continual give and take as the project goes on. I probably can't stay all day either, but I'll be here for some of it. And obviously I don't know anything much compared to
But you might have
Charlie and
questions if you
everybody,
wanna
but
ask.
I think it's important to try to understand as much as I can.
Me too. So thank you, I'm glad you're gonna be there.
No worries.
And, you know, anybody else have any questions that aren't going to be there that want to?
I would just like to go on the record as saying I'm not going to be there because I'm working, but talking with a lot of different people, some of them longtime family members and different Andoverians. I think, and this is just my personal opinion, but talking with people who have them, I think it's kind of crazy for me personally to put a pellet stove in that garage. I just think, since there's a heating system in there already,
Right.
if the garage was better insulated and better buttoned up and in other words, if the garage, the idea that we would replace a perfectly good heating system with a pellet stove in that garage to me is just, I think it would be like putting a swimming pool on top of a school bus. Like, you know,
There's definitely some questions I wanna ask.
I don't see how that's going to make anything better or easier or more streamlined or more efficient even.
I don't have enough knowledge to even
Boy, because
I've asked some people that I
stoves, I mean,
learn, really.
I understand what they do, and I understand that in a home, in a small home, in a place that's very buttoned up and put together, and low ceilings and all that kind of thing, that it could keep it pretty warm. But I also know with a pellet stove, you're talking about the pellets, you're talking about the maintenance on that pellet stove.
Maintenance on it.
Those are the
Somebody's
questions
always
that I-
got to be looking at that thing, and also, would you guys want to leave that garage on a Friday night and just fill it with pellets?
Well, it's a hopper that's on the outside, so it
But
gets filled.
still,
But there is issues that go along with
I
that. I've
mean,
talked to a few
it's a
people and
different,
they bring up the
because if your
same.
pellet stove gets clogged,
Yeah,
a lot of things can
There's a
happen.
lot of questions.
Whereas we already have a furnace in there that just works, right? It just works. So I'm not going to be there, but I am not for a pellet stove in that garage.
So,
Not that it's a vote thing. I'm just saying.
Right.
well,
my thought is
it kind of is that we all need to be on board with what we.
I feel that part of it is a little bit, like I said, like a swimming pool on a school bus. I don't think. I mean, if you could make it work, it'd be maybe kind of cool for the cool factor.
Right.
But I feel like as far as the town
Maintenance
garage
side,
and maintenance and
whatever.
taxpayer money and all that stuff, I feel like it would really be terrible if that whole system got put in and then 2 years from now it's not being used because it's not efficient and it didn't work for us and now it's in there and now we're still using oil anyway, or we have to get the oil hooked back up, which was perfectly good to begin with. I sound like my grandfather.
Well,
I sound like an old 80-year-old Vermonter all of a sudden, but that's really how it seems to me after talking with a lot of people about it.
one of my concerns and one of the things that I would like to bring to the table when we do have the meeting is that nothing makes sense to do unless you button up the buildings.
Right.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the garage, there may be this, well, if you do a pellet stove, then you're gonna have to button up the building this way. Well, what if we don't do a pellet stove?
Right.
We still
We
need to
just
button
button
up
up
the
the building.
building, right? And so those are some of the questions that I'm gonna put in. I have to say I was on the fence about putting in the heat pumps, and then I spoke with somebody who I value their opinion greatly, and they told me that they didn't think they worked very well for cold weather, but they work great for air conditioning. And like a few of us have said, or not me, but a few of the people have remarked that if we could get them put in just for that purpose, it's not a bad thing, as long as we have alternative heat sources. And I agree with that. I think this building, the downstairs in this building, the air quality really needs to be addressed. That's something that I'm hoping that they look at. So there's a lot of windows. There's a lot of really simple, well, they're not simple, they're big projects, but projects that we would have to do in the future anyways. So it's really important to have those be, in my opinion, I would choose to have those be top priority, and that would be buttoning up the buildings.
I agree, because the heating system that we have already, if you make the building more efficient, you know, insulating wise,
Yeah.
windows, doors and such, then would the whole building be more efficient at that point
Right.
with the existing heating
Right.
system?
Yeah. That's how I feel about it, and I would hate to see us get into some great big project where we start ripping everything apart at the town garage in particular, and then we're like, ooh, we shouldn't have done that, I wish we would have.
Yeah.
So, and there's a quality of the thermal mass of your oil burner also that comes into play. So the oil burner is keeping that area warm at all times when it's running, and it does give off a residual heat that you
Right.
don't get once you put your heating source outside. So that was another concern, even with the heat pumps for me. But then when, thinking, okay, well, what if we were to, we have a perfectly working oil burner in our town hall, and then we also have one here. So if they are alternative sources, so that's kind of where what I'm thinking about it. Button up the buildings, talking to her about doing that first.
How many people are coming, do we know?
Susan, myself,
No, I mean from the project. from
Jason, and
architect.
Shelley.
Okay.
This is probably pretty elementary, but once again, you involve people like me, I'm gonna have to learn from scratch.
That's okay, that's good.
So as far as heat pumps for air conditioning, honestly, as far as I can see, the main reason why you might ever want air conditioning in the town hall would be if it was being used as an emergency shelter. But in an emergency situation, you wouldn't run a generator to power air conditioners, right?
So this is
Or would you?
this is going to be one of my questions.
Oh, good.
So you're on track, and you're in a good place. One of my questions that came up was, do our generators, which are new generators, are they capable in an emergency situation of running all these different sources? And if they aren't, how do we address that? So that is a very good question. I feel really comfortable with the fact that we do have a good heat source in our town hall right now. It works great. It seems
Relatively new.
It's relatively new, exactly. So, but again, if we were expecting our generator to run heat pumps, could they keep up with the load? I don't know. But these are things that things that we'll ask.
Having air conditioning in the town hall would be beneficial. We rent the town hall out on a regular basis.
Okay.
And having a community function, a memorial service, a pasta dinner for community cares in the kind of heat that's over there is unbearable.
Okay,
So,
well, that's,
it would be valuable, and it could expand our opportunities to rent it out as well.
Right.
thank you.
So, before I was like, oh, do you really want to do that? And these are some of the things that were brought up to me.
And for here, certainly replacing that
Yeah.
with, mini splits that do AC seems like it would be much more efficient. I mean, it does okay right here. You get more than 2 people in here and the humidity level shoots up, so that thing just runs and runs and runs, and after a while it doesn't feel like it's doing any good. If the vault doors open and close, the vault is not insulated, so it's 10 degrees in there in the winter and it's 80 degrees in there in the summer. And so if you're opening and closing the door, it kind of nullifies whatever this poor thing's trying to do. So more efficiency would be great.
So that's when I meet with her, those are going to be some of my thoughts. And some of the higher priorities, I think. If anyone else has any high priorities that they think, I would love to hear everyone's take on it. So
I'm gonna try to be here as much as I can. I don't know, on that day, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Good morning.
all right, so moving on. We just went over the MERF grant
Yeah.
pretty much. We went right from asking Charlie about his road stuff to the MRF, so we'll pass by that. Budget update. How are we looking, Jeanette?
Good. We are looking good. Cruising into our last 3 weeks here.
What's wrong?
So
Imagine that.
You really need the moisture.
And then I saw that we had, and I asked you this earlier about the fuel and oil and how we had budgeted for 50,000 and our actual is 36,800. So we're really
wonderful.
coming in under budget.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So
We didn't turn the
Right.
heat on until mid-November. Remember, it was so warm all the way through
Yeah.
October?
Yeah, so weather dependent.
it is, isn't it?
And the prices did go down a little bit this year. At least the ones we were getting from ourselves.
Yep.
I think the highest we ever paid was $3.20, and it was only like that in like the super cold 2 weeks or something. The rest of the time we were paying $3 and below.
They've been great too, just to put on record as far as, we had a couple concerns about the town hall tank being low and called them up and they got right on it.
Have they?
Yeah. I
Have
think
we used it in a
two
long
different
time?
times. What are we, third year now?
Yep,
Yeah,
3
third
years,
year.
I think it was. They've been great.
Yeah, they have.
They've been really great to work with. When we had a furnace emergency in here 2 years ago,
Right.
they sent somebody right down.
Well, here and the garage.
Right,
She
oh, that's
worked
right.
on both, yeah.
That's good to know. Do we, actually, I think it's gonna come up in our correspondence. Do we have a service contract with them as well?
We must have.
We,
Or is there not an actual, so is it like
no, it's just by
a will
appointment.
call sort of?
Yeah.
They've never questioned it. We had an issue with the furnace and she didn't ask if we had anything or do you need to set something up. They said, we'll send Alex down. She came right down. She asked for some photos. I sent her some photos. She came down and had to buy some pieces and parts. And then I think the same thing happened here with Jeanette. She needed a couple odds and ends, pieces and parts, and she picked them up and got things running again.
Nice. Does anybody have any questions about the budget? Okay, so
I'm
we'll
just happy it looks a lot better than I thought it might.
Well, I had discovered that although I showed the surplus from last year or from the year before going out in the expenses, I had not showed it going in on income, and that was part of the problem. So that was my oversight, and I caught it last week when I was looking through. I'm like, wait a second. Because we don't put it in the budget initially as income and expense until the voters approve it at town meeting. And I just neglected to go back in and add it to the income side, but I had added it to the expense side. So we were, in effect, missing that $16,000.
but it's back in now.
Right.
And she split it between, which is what the voters had voted on, splitting it between the municipal budget and
For the capital
for the
equipment fund
capital
and the
equipment
highway
and the
bridge.
highway.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to financial order.
Yes. was wondering what this huge amount was, and it's taxes. Goodness.
School tax. Educational tax.
There's a line here for 932,257. I'm not used to seeing numbers like that.
Well, I'm glad
Get
you
used
noticed
to
it. Yes.
You missed that meeting where we ordered
it.
another truck, didn't you?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. How's Josh doing in the truck? Does he like it?
Good, yeah.
He likes it. It's pretty.
Hasn't really driven it too much over the road, just
Yeah.
to haul sand, and then we
Yeah.
did some work on North Hill today. Had to bring up some material and spread a couple loads for the first time.
Yeah.
Went well. Yeah, went well.
Does that have a different dump body or tailgate than the other one?
Just a little bit different style, but they're all basically
They're all
the
basically,
same. Yeah. Just learning the gears, and what gear you want to be in, and what speed you want to be at, how high the body needs to be.
Is the height of the body different?
Same as his other truck.
Same as the other. Well, that's good,
Yeah.
because I'm sure that would be like really hard to get used to.
Yeah, like today there was some cross wires that he had to be careful of.
Right. Right. Thank you. And now we're moving on to correspondence, and we did get something from H&B Energy Solutions. This is for the actually I'm glad you're here for this. This is for the generator service contract. And they're giving us a $419 service contract. Is this for all the generators?
No, it's for, they installed the town hall and garage generator, so they're offering us a contract to come twice a year, basically, and maintain them.
How do you feel about that? Is that something that if
We discussed this back
I
a
remember.
while ago
Yeah.
briefly. Was it the last board, Jeanette? Do you remember?
It was the last board. I
Last
remember
board.
talking
And
about.
I thought it would be beneficial to have them come and do a maintenance and have us be there with them. Obviously I can change the oil, I can change the air filters, that sort of stuff, but to just kind of show us like the programming of the thing that we don't know anything about. It was supposed to be part of the purchasing. The electrical guy that came said when they were all done, they were gonna walk us through it to kind of show nothing ever happened. So I had said at that point with the last board, I think it'd be beneficial to have them do like the first maintenance run.
Right.
And have us just kind of see what needs to happen. And then I think we could pick it up from there, because $400 and something to change the oil and,
Right.
the air filter and
I remember that
level up the
conversation.
unit or something, I think is greatly overpriced. So I think it's something that we could do, but
Okay.
other than just the normal maintenance stuff, I don't know what is involved with these generators until they would tell us, I guess.
And so your suggestion would be that we don't need it, or we do?
I
need
think
it?
that we do the first year and then cancel or whatever.
And
If
is
they're gonna
this-
come twice, then that's fine.
We did have it for the first year, correct? We already did it for the first year.
No one's ever been here.
No,
I
they've
think
never
Nobody's
been
ever been
maintained,
here. Nobody's ever been here.
so they need to.
So, who would? Just a second. Who would call them to have them come? Would it be something that?
Well, if you approve that contract, all we have to do is send a check with that in, and they'll call to make arrangements to
Schedule the
come.
first maintenance,
Right.
which I think it should have been done already,
Yeah, I would too.
in my own opinion, but.
Yeah. Susan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking if it was a personal investment, is there anything to do with the warranty that kind of requests, that requires, like,
Somebody that's.
I don't know.
Oh, good question.
That is a very good
Unless
question.
Jeanette got something specifically, I didn't see anything in the little bit of paperwork that we got that even mentioned much about a warranty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very minimal, if any.
Two-part generator service contract. Part one includes 1 year after install. The previous tune-up.
Have
So,
we only had these about a year? I was thinking it was 2 years.
Yeah, I thought we already signed a contract with them. I thought that was, you guys wanna see that? I thought we had agreed on doing that for 1 year, but I guess it didn't get.
I'm not sure. I mean, I thought we had said that have
Yeah, we
them
had
come
said,
to do
yeah.
the first one, they never came, and then we would pick it up from there, but I have not seen anybody here.
Well, our one, it says 1 year after install,
Yeah.
so I don't know when it was installed.
I would move that we do for the 400 and, what is it, $18, $19, that we have them come, that we do this contract, because especially with us changing over our, thinking about other aspects of our heating systems, it might even be a safeguard for us right now.
Well, I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So we'll sign this, and then maybe, who would like to get a hold of them and have them set up a time? Is it, if you wanted to be there?
I don't mind, but I think like Jeanette said, I think once you send
Once we
that
send
back
that
in, they
they'll
will probably
call us.
contact
They'll
us
call me.
and schedule something.
Right, and you will schedule with Charlie, so he'll be here, because that was
Yeah.
one of the
sure.
purposes of it, that you be able to see it, okay.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Somebody wanna second it?
Yep, second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
We are efficient.
Quick one.